Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Sarcasm Speaks. It's Jared and Bob. It's been like 2 full weeks for us, I think, since we've recorded an episode. Um, a lot has happened in 2 weeks. Obviously, nothing has changed for you guys if you're listening or watching on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just kind of rattle through them, I suppose, to start off. It's a hefty 2 weeks. First of all, we have to take a loser lap for Pope Francis, right?
Oh, would you want to check that?
I don't know. Did someone have him?
Pretty sure I did.
You did?
Fairly certain I did.
All right. See, when people die at this point, I just assume no one had him and we got it wrong.
I believe part of my handicap on the Pope was the Jubilee year and the concern that he didn't look so hot last year.
You're right. You did
Yep.
have Pope Francis.
Yep.
So are you the first person to hit this year?
Mm, didn't we have another one?
Um, Chris had King Charles, Zelensky, Sean Weiss, Tim Kennedy, Magic Johnson. I believe they're all still alive. Mike had Hulk Hogan, James Hong, Mel Brooks, Dolly Parton, and Netanyahu. I don't know about James Hong, but I think all the other ones are still alive. Nick had Marv Levy, Don King, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Jelly Roll. Is Jim Duggan alive? Did he die?
I remember seeing that he died. Yeah, maybe the
Hacksaw.
Pope's the first one. I mean, it is only, well, May now, but
Yeah, he's still alive. Um, Jones had Grace Napolitano. I don't know anything about her. Um, Lenny Dykstra, Ric Flair, Terry Bradshaw, Robin Quivers. So I'm pretty sure Lenny Flair and the original TB12, are still alive. I don't know anything about Grace Napolitano or Robin Quivers. Grace Napolitano. Let's check and see. She is still alive. Robin Quivers is also still alive. Then you had Al Geiberger, um, Rikishi, Ellen DeGeneres, Jay Z, and Pope Francis. So
yep.
you hit Pope
So just the
Francis.
Pope, I think.
Um, I had George Soros, Nancy Pelosi, Bret Hart, Chapel Roan, Brian Cox, and David Attenborough.
I feel as though we may have hit one at the very end of last year.
Yeah, could have been. Yeah, I think it was Willie Mays or Jimmy Carter. I'm looking back at 2024 right now. We had
Oh,
three
show
hits.
pick.
We had three hits in 2024. It was Jack Burke, Willie Mays, and Jimmy Carter.
Dude, I've hit two in a row now. 2 years.
Yeah. Dude, Sister Jean is still alive. She's 105. She was my pick in 2024, which means she's probably going to die this year because
Probably.
that's how this works. Um, all right, so yeah, no loser lap. We have a victory lap to take. We have a very rare victory lap to take. So I will allow you to have your victory lap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm great at this and smarter than everybody else. End of lap.
Fantastic. Um, all right, what else? There was something. Oh, Kentucky Derby, right, was yesterday. Um, I hit on my exacta box, right? Because I'm finally figuring out just in time to not bet horses again, or probably until next month. What is it? Next month is the Preakness, and then I think they finish with the Belmont. Um,
I don't know the
I
order.
don't know the order, truthfully. It doesn't really matter. But I do know the Belmont is at Saratoga, where we were, for the next few years while they rebuild the actual Belmont track. So that's kind of cool to say that, like, oh yeah, I've been there. I I saw fucking people yelling and screaming and getting way too drunk. I wonder if they made that place any nicer. Because like when we were there, I don't know, dude, that wasn't like the nicest place in the world.
Dude, they're horse tracks. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
they're
I
not
guess
supposed to be
obviously,
nice.
I've never been to the Kentucky Derby, but I just imagine that it's somewhat nice, but in reality, it's probably not.
I'm pretty sure it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
anyone I've heard that's ever gone, they go, it's cool to go once.
I feel like I could have just made this up, which, it happens from time to time, but this isn't a fact-based show. But I feel like someone said that Saratoga is actually nicer than Belmont, like the actual Belmont track.
Well, I mean, if they're redoing the whole thing, probably.
Yeah. So, um,
Or say ask Jones about the Preakness track, but I don't think he remembers being there.
yeah. Um, so we hit sovereignty and who was the other one? Journalism was two. And then this was actually really funny because everyone was talking about Baeza, who was the number 21 horse, who was the reserve. And everything I watched and listened was like, if there's one scratch, watch out. Because that Baeza horse, number 21, waiting in the rings, he could sneaky come in and fuck everything up. Like I heard that from a couple different people that 21 could fuck up everything for everyone. And wouldn't you know, it did because Baeza came in third. So I think it was sovereignty, journalism, and Baeza were the top three. Um, so I had my five horse exacta box, and I hit. I forget what the numbers were. It was like 18-9, I think. 18-9, 21 was the top three. So 18 and 9 were in my exacta box. So I think I only won like $30. Um,
I was gonna say because I hit as well, and I think I profited $9 or something.
yeah, I think I profited $10 because I put it was a whatever. It was a like a $20 bet or something like that. So yeah, I didn't make a lot of money, but oh, so that's the other thing I wanted to say. Less on the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, yippee cool horses. I have a beef with DraftKings now because I don't know about you, but I prefer the DraftKings app to both MGM and FanDuel. I think it's the most user friendly. I think DraftKings typically offers the most ways to get down on something, whether that's, props, goofy alternates, like whatever, right? Like DraftKings is pretty good at giving the consumer a lot to do. And they also are typically one of the first books to actually put out their lines too. So they're early and they have a lot, right? So I'm again, I like DraftKings. Again, I prefer them to um, FanDuel and MGM. I don't have a Caesars account, but for the three Massachusetts books that I do have, I would say DraftKings is my favorite. Um, their lines are also slightly better for most things. Obviously, MGM sometimes is a little bit better for golf. But FanDuel is like notorious for doing like goofy shit, like giving you like minus 114 both ways on a line. It's just, I don't know. There sometimes you can find a sneaky good line, like on a golf outright or hockey, I think has been decent on FanDuel. But like other than that, I typically stay away unless I'm betting ponies because DraftKings, what they do is they have a completely separate DraftKings horses app that they want you to download. And I will not do that. I will not download an entirely new app. So then I thought I found a loophole because on the sportsbook app, there is a spot where you can just click horses. So I go to the horses and it takes me over to this horse page. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I don't have to download the app. So then I log in and I try to place a bet and it said insufficient funds. I go, what are you talking about? Like I have like a couple $100 in my DraftKings account, and I try it again. It says insufficient funds, make a deposit. And I'm like, oh, you fuckers. Like they want you to download the separate app and make a deposit because you can't cross pollinate, if you will. I don't know what the correct term is, but you can't cross over your bankroll from DraftKings Sportsbook to DraftKings Horses, which is the dumbest shit ever because FanDuel lets you do it, right? FanDuel, you just click the horses button, it brings you over to FanDuel Horses, and your account in the bottom right corner has your balance, right? It has your bankroll right there. And wouldn't you know, it's the exact same number that's on FanDuel Sportsbook, right? And MGM actually doesn't have horses, fun fact. At least I couldn't find it. Um, so I was stuck betting with FanDuel, which again is fine. When it comes to horses, the numbers are the numbers, right? Like they don't do the goofy shit they do with other sports, right? Where like, you can find, the Patriots -6.5 at DraftKings, but they're, minus 5.5 at FanDuel, but it's like -136 juice. Like there's none of that with horses. Like with horses, it's the number is the number. Um, so it was fine. But yeah, like fuck off, DraftKings. You want me to download another app, make a separate deposit, and give you more money when I have plenty of money in my sportsbook account? And like, don't sit there and tell me, oh, we can't do that because I know you can be because FanDuel does it. So that's my beef with DraftKings. Again, it doesn't really matter because I bet horses probably 3 times a year. Maybe five, right? Because I know sometimes you might get a lead from someone at the gym and be like, hey, the fucking Saratoga race this weekend, take 18, right? Or something like that, right? But I can count on one hand the amount of times that I bet horses in a year. So again, these aren't real problems, Charlie, but it's just one of those things that just aggravated me.
I did do DraftKings. I'm sorry, FanDuel. I
Yeah.
didn't really think twice about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just came up. It just so happened that because DraftKings is my preferred sports book, that's who I tried to go through. It just didn't work. So, because they don't do that for the daily fantasy stuff either. Your bankroll is your bankroll across because that's a separate app, right? And I've had that one for years because before sports betting was legal in Massachusetts, you could still do the daily fantasy stuff. So I've had DraftKings DFS for years and years and years. And it's the same bankroll. If I log into the DFS app and I log into the sportsbook app, again, it's you look at the account and it tells you the exact same number. So I don't know why horses is any different, but apparently they just want more money. So FanDuel horses it is. All right, let me see. Couple other things here. These are becoming less timely, so let me get to them before I forget. Because again, it's been 2 weeks. I played Torrey Pines South. This would be 2 weeks ago now when I was in California. Um, so I've been working it, so I just stay at the hotel at Torrey Pines. Again, my work covers everything, and we're given like effectively like an allowance or a range, right, that we need to stay in. They don't give a shit where I stay, as long as I don't go above the amount that is allotted like per hotel room for that stay. So I've been staying at the Torrey Pines Hotel, which is amazing. That place fucking rocks. So shout out to them. And I played the South course. And then when I went in February, I told you like that's how their whole little process works, right? They have the QR code, you scan it, you go on the wait list, and then they call you. So when I was there a couple weeks ago, um, I don't know, I probably left maybe at like 2:30. So by the time I got home to the hotel, it was maybe like 3 o'clock. So when I got to the hotel, I immediately walked over to the clubhouse. I scanned the QR code, put my name on the wait list, and then I walked back to the hotel. So it's probably like a 10-minute walk, right? Like it's not, it's a big place, right? And where the hotel is versus the clubhouse, again, probably a 10-minute walk. So from scanning the QR and putting my name on the wait list from the clubhouse to walking back to the hotel, I was like, all right, I'm just going to change and like, I'll futz around in my email and see if there's anything else I could do. But at that point, like it's 6 o'clock on the East Coast almost. So like no one's working still over here. So I was like, all right, we're good. As soon as I got back to my hotel room, I get a text from them saying, "You're up. You're ready. Please come to the clubhouse to check in." And I was like, "Oh fuck." So I'm like rushing, I throw my clothes on, I change, I grab my golf shoes and I head back over. And on the way over, I click like, "Yes, I'm on my way." Right. So I get there, I check in, and I go, "Yeah, I gotta rent clubs." And he goes, "All right." So I go over to the club rental side, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you're mellow." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I got you right now on the tee." And I'm like, "Oh Jesus fucking Christ! Like, is there anything after?" And he goes, "Yeah, maybe, but like, can you do right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, I get. Let me go get my rentals, right?" So I like hustle over to the rentals. I get that squared up, and the guy in the pro shop is just like, "Yeah, you're good. Like, just go down." He goes like, "Worst case, you go out in between, you just catch up to the guys in front of you." He goes, "It's not a big deal." I go, "I'm not worried about it." So yeah, he's not worried about it, but I'm like frazzled, right? I'm like trying to hustle. Like I'm like I gotta get downstairs to get the rentals, right? I gotta grab they bring me the push cart, right? So like they bring me everything, but like I have to like give them my slip and do the whole thing. So I get that, I grab my tees, and I'm like, yeah, first, which way is the first tee? Because I've only played the North course there. And they're like, oh, it's right over here, that one right there. So I'm like going over and I talk to the starter, and he's like, oh, well, we might have one other guy joining you. So hang on. And I was like, well, the guy upstairs told me to just tee off and catch the group in front of me. Because there was two guys that were like in the fairway already when I got down there. And he was like, yeah, yeah, you could do that. And I go, why don't I walk over to the tee and get ready? And if that other guy shows up, just give me a holler and I won't tee off and I'll wait for him. And he goes, yeah, that sounds like a plan. So I'm like, okay. So I get my galoshes in order, right? I go and I get everything settled. I walk up to the first tee, take a couple practice swings. I look back at the starter's little box house thing that they have. The guy sticks his head out the window and just gives me the thumbs up. And I go, sick. All right. I don't have to wait for this other guy. So at that point, the group in front of me just hit their shots into the green. So they're walking towards the green. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So I go hit a tee shot, wouldn't you know, way right. Like way right. I'm like, all right, yeah, to be expected, I guess. So I'm in like the what is it? I think that's the 10th fairway on the North course is where I ended up. Um, so I get back over into the first fairway, hit my shot up to the green. I go over the back of the green. I try and chip it back on. It rolls like 15 feet past because these greens are so fucking fast. I made a seven on the first hole. So I was like, all right, well, what a fucking way to start off. But then I like actually settled a little bit and sort of relaxed. And I was like, all right, I got the first one out of the way. Let's just play now. So I get out there, and I actually played really well. So I shot, I ended up shooting 44 on the front and 48 on the back. So I finished with a 92. So I shot 44 on the front with a triple, right? So I played really well on the front. I faded fast on the back. I tripled the 13th hole, which is a fucking monster. That hole is so hard. Um,
What young did you play from?
the whites, I think. It was
Okay,
like 62,
I'll look it up.
6,200.
Okay.
It's like 61 and change, right? But
Yep.
it was like, we'll call it 6,200. Um, but yeah, that 13th hole is so fucking hard.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not super familiar with like top of my head, not familiar with
It's just long.
Torrey.
It's the hole the pros.
Is three the par three that you hit towards the water?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Okay.
wicked, like 50 feet downhill.
So I know three, and then I don't know. I mean, when the US Open was there in 2021, I'm sure by the end of the week I recognized a few, but I don't remember them now.
Yeah. So third,
Obviously I know 18, but
right, right. 13 is the hole that when the pros play there, I think it's like 660 yards.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Um, for me, it was 486, but it's an elevation change. Like it's a massive uphill tee shot. So I actually hit I'm sorry, approach shot. I hit a good tee shot, and I caught the hill and I went down. So I had a downhill lie to get a shot like 40 feet above me. So obviously it didn't work. I ended up in the bunker, by the green, went over the back of the green, chipped it down, rolled forward off the front of the green, chipped it back on, and I think two putted for an eight. Um, and then that was just a bad stretch. I went from 11 to 14. I went double, double, triple, double. Um, but I finished out okay. I had two pars in the last four. I went bogey par to finish. I parred 18, which was really cool. Obviously, everyone knows 18. Um, but yeah, really, really cool course, really cool experience. I think so. I talked to my boss about this because he's played a few times when he's gone out too. Um, I don't know what it is, whether it's just the warm air. It is a little bit the warm air, right? Because that's science. Or a little bit of the wind. But I was absolutely nuking the ball. Um, when I made good contact with it, I was crushing it. So that was fun. And like a lot of my shots were like long. Like I was over the back of the green quite a bit, right? Just because my yardages were off.
What type of grass is it?
Uh, couldn't tell
You
you.
need to, you need to know these things. If you're going to evaluate also your take is bad because the nerds say Tory sucks. So
Yeah,
you're
well, it's just
actually
long and straight.
that's it. It's just long and straight. So
Yeah.
actually your assessment is incorrect. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, compared to what we play around here, right? And again, I'm not, the no laying up nerds. But certainly compared to what we play around here or what we have access to around here, um, it's unbelievable, right? It's a great I mean, the views are unreal, right? Like you're hitting off of cliffs and, that par three down the hill, almost off a cliff. And, it's really cool. You're right there. You're on the water. You're on the ocean.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. It sucks.
I'm an uncultured swine. Jeez,
Yep.
that was
Nope.
hard to say.
Not cool.
Um,
Long and straight, big ballpark. Not
yeah.
interesting.
So yeah, I
It
mean,
takes no skill to play that course.
yeah. Oh, okay.
You
Yes.
must have forgotten that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why. Um, so yeah, I mean, with rental clubs to go out there and play that course at 6,200 yards and to shoot a 92, with two triples, I was mostly satisfied with that, right? Like it clean it up a little bit here and there, and I could have easily broke 90. So, um, all like I said, all around, mostly a good round. Great course, despite what the nerds say. So, going back in a couple weeks, we'll see if I get to play again and which course. Because that's the other thing too. You don't really get to choose. You can choose, but then you're waiting for longer. When I put up myself on the wait list, I always just click first available, right? And then it is what it is.
Way to go. I also think some people have said if the North wasn't like if the South didn't exist, the North would get some of the accolades that the South gets.
Yeah.
But because they're on the same property, it gets less recognition.
I liked the North when I played it, the 12 holes that I got to play before the fog cut us short. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I liked that side too. So it's a great spot.
So I got nothing. But I mean, I'm actually open to going there. Most of California, I'm not interested in, but I would be open to actually going. But
Yeah, I mean San
it's
Diego is great.
it's not. I wouldn't say it's imminent for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh I got one other thing. I'm gonna use this as my final thought. So I have one other California thought, but that'll be what I wrap everything up with. Um, did you see this is an interesting story. Uh Virginia Guffrey, right? Again, it's been 2 weeks for us, so I want to get all the topical current event stuff sort of out of the way before it goes any longer. But Virginia Guffrey, who may be better known as Virginia Roberts, who was one of the key witnesses against Jeffrey Epstein in the original trial in like 2009 or whatever, when he first got convicted um, of sex trafficking or whatever, pedophilia, whatever he got convicted of in 2009. She was the main witness, I guess you would call her. Um, in that case, she became famous, obviously, after Epstein was caught again. And then after he died, and then, it became the story, right? Um, she allegedly committed suicide last week. So,
How could the Clintons?
yeah, I don't know if you heard about this story or not,
No,
but
even though I'm here with this and this person for the first time ever right now.
so a quick rundown of what happened, right? So obviously, again, she is the key witness, right, against this whole Epstein stuff. She's been testifying against him for years and years. Um, like a month ago, she gets hit by a bus, right? So she's in a car. She's not like she didn't get hit by a bus like freestanding. So she was driving in a car and her car got hit by a bus, right? A school bus, nonetheless. So with that part of it, yeah, it's probably a coincidence, right? Probably just a bad coincidence. But again, conspiracies are fun, right? So she gets hit by a bus, right? She suffers pretty bad injuries. They bring her to the hospital, and I think there was something going on with her kidneys. She was in like renal failure or something like that. And the doctors were like, yeah, she's got like 48 hours to live, basically. And then miraculously, she doesn't die, right? She makes a full recovery. So she recovers from that accident. She goes home, and then like 2 to 3 weeks later, she commits suicide. So on the surface, right, this key witness against this massive figure now that has become Jeffrey Epstein gets hit by a bus, right, in a car accident so bad that it almost killed. It should have killed her, right? It was quite literally a miracle that she didn't die. She makes a full recovery somehow, some way, and then gets home after recovering in the hospital, and then 3 weeks later kills herself. I mean, it kind of smells.
Yeah, it does. I mean, like things like why now, but also again, I know nothing. I know nothing about her. I know nothing about the relationship. I know nothing about what's going on. That would
Yeah.
be my uninformed first thought would be why now?
Yeah.
Because it sounds
Yeah.
like she's already done her damage.
Yeah, it is odd, right? And then the thing too that I've heard people talk about is the school bus, right? Like we don't know nothing. I couldn't find anything. I don't know if anyone else has found anything. Like when she got hit by the school bus, was it full of kids? Right? Was it empty? Right? Like I don't know. I don't know the situation of that. Um, I think if
That
it
was that a failed attempt, right? Like
right,
so,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think if it were full of kids, then I think it was probably just an awful coincidence, right? Car accidents happen quite literally every day, right? Like there's hundreds of car accidents that happen like every few seconds. Um, and some of them involve school buses full of kids, right? Like that's an unfortunate reality that is the world. Um, so I think if the school bus was full of kids, then yeah, it was probably just a bad coincidence, and maybe she suffered brain damage from the accident, or maybe like even though she recovered, maybe she was, maybe she would have had to do dialysis for the rest of her life or something, right? Because she was in renal failure, but then wasn't, and who knows, right? I don't know the specifics of it, and maybe she was like, "Fuck this, I'm not living on dialysis 3 days a week for the rest of my life," and just kind of, killed herself, right? Um, could be that it is very plausible, right? It's a very real possibility. Um, everyone keeps pointing to the video that she made that was like, I am of sound mind and body, and I would never kill myself and all this stuff. And that video was made like 5 years ago, right? It's not
Like,
like,
sorry, you're gonna throw that out.
yeah, yeah, that was like when we were in the height of like the Epstein stuff, right? Like, or right after when they found Ghislaine Maxwell, because I think Epstein was like 2018. And I think they found Maxwell in 2020-ish. I think it was right around COVID um, that they found her. So it was probably right around the time they found Maxwell where she made that video. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's no good, right? Again, like it's not like she recovered from the accident, made that video, and then she killed herself, right? Like that would have been, okay, all right, something's really stinking there. But yeah, it's just it smells, right? If the school bus was empty, then maybe there's something to it, right? But I mean, I have a really hard time that, the quote unquote deep state, right? Or the man behind the curtain, if you will, would like have a school bus full of kids like drive into this fucking woman just to try and kill her. Or like there's better ways to do that. Like staging a suicide. Um, but yeah, I mean, if the bus was empty, I would be a lot more amenable to believing that maybe there was something fishy going on. But I don't know without the details, right? I have no idea. Just on the surface, it seems odd. So,
I guess my again, they'll just go back to like why now? Who's to benefit? Where's the money? It like that's usually the questions we ask and shit like this.
yeah,
It doesn't really add up. So I'm inclined to think it's not a thing. It's reality, but I don't know if we're dealing with a deeper issue here.
right.
Now, if you
Yeah,
want to say it's like maybe she tried to kill herself the first time and it didn't work, and that led to the second one, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not thinking that my first instinct isn't necessarily that like foul play is involved because again, I'm not seeing who benefits now.
yeah, agreed.
Seems
Right.
like
Like you
her
said,
work is done and has been
the
done.
damage is kind of done there, right?
Now,
Like,
if for the last 17 years she hasn't, she's been living with that and it's like it kind of messed her up or whatever, it's like, yeah, sure. And like mental health's a real thing. So, um, Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily put on my tinfoil hat. That's not my first reaction.
Yeah, I don't think I am either. Um, but I've seen people on both sides of this one. Um, and it's funny as people mostly do in conspiracy theories, the ones that are like gung ho for it are very I don't know whether it's deliberate or whether it's intentional ignorance, right? But they just say like she got hit by a bus and then she recovered and then she went home and then she killed herself. And it's like, all right, well, you need the context, right? She got hit by a school bus, right? Which like I already went through that. Like we don't know the details, right? But if it were full, I mean, sounds like an accident to me. So just people being dumb people. uh all right. So there's another thing that's been going on. Um that I think is interesting that I also think has been blown a bit out of proportion. So, have you heard about the New England serial killer?
No, I'm sitting here like quite glad that golf season's back. I don't know any of this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
Um,
nothing.
I'm surprised
And I
that
mean,
the
I was
9 a.m.
watching
class hasn't said anything.
oh, I've stopped listening to them, man. Like, oh God, they had something. Um, oh no, there's a local. I think the town of Easton might be voting on something. Like that's been occupying them, and the Karen Reed trial has started back up, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they're busy. Sorry.
yeah. People at work are talking about the Karen Reed stuff again too.
And the only reason I knew that started back up is because it was on when I went to the barber shop.
Yeah,
But yeah, I was gonna say I guess I'm quite glad golf is back because I like it a lot better when I don't know anything. Like we have a serial killer in New England now.
no. The quick answer is no, we don't. Um,
Okay.
So I looked into this a little bit just because I was bored and I was curious, right? I'm like, oh, that's kind of a thing, right? Like we should know if there's a serial killer in New England. Um,
Say, I feel like of all things, that's something I should probably hear
yeah.
about.
So what it stems from is there were multiple human remains found in like a short period of time between like I don't know if I have the dates here. Between March, I don't have the specific dates, but between March and April of 2025, there were 8 bodies found in various locations across Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. So the victims are mostly women, right? But they're not all women. Um, They were discovered in areas including Springfield, Mass, New Haven, Connecticut, Groton and Killingly, Connecticut, and Foster, Rhode Island. Only 3 victims have been publicly identified, Paige Fannin, Denise Leary, and Michelle Romano. Authorities have not established any connections among these deaths, and investigations are ongoing. So, as we learned from that weird fucking Netflix documentary during COVID, the "Don't fuck with cats" thing. Um, People take their Facebook detective jobs way too seriously. Apparently, there's a Facebook group called New England Serial Killer that has like 100,000 people in it, and everyone is convinced that there's a serial killer in New England. So again, what's this has been driven by is the 8 bodies that were found scattered throughout whatever over the course of 8 weeks, effectively.
Stupid
Um,
question. Did the article or reporting mention uh, I almost just said the quality of these bodies. No, they're all dead. The method in which all of these bodies were discovered, like were
that's
okay.
that's what I'm going to get to. Um, so there's a lot of things going on, right? One of them was Plymouth, Massachusetts, where there was a hunter that was out and found like a human skull, right? Or they originally found bones. So they called the cops and was like, "Hey, there's a bunch of bones here. They don't look like animal bones. You guys should come check this out." Um, so then they found out that they were human remains, right? So there's been nothing public that's come out on the timeline, right, of the deaths, because that's another thing too. Like what's happening, right? Was that person in Plymouth there for like 15 years? Was it 15 months, right? Like we have no idea, right? We don't really
Kind
know the
of,
timeline here.
again, I don't, yeah. If I was to give a fuck about this, that would be like my question is like, how long have those remains been there? Like, what's the age on them?
Right, right.
And also, is 8 in 2 months over 4 states? Is that a lot? Is that a little? Like,
Yeah, it doesn't
I don't know. Like, what's a
seem,
normal amount of human remains to find per state per month?
yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know.
Because it's eight
I feel like 8 bodies over 2 months doesn't sound
in
like a
four
lot
states,
in
right? You
four
said
states, right?
Connecticut.
Three.
Oh, 3 states. Okay.
Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts.
So 2.33 bodies per state over 2 months. Like, weird, but like, is that again, that might not be a lot.
Yeah,
So that's my first question is this an odd frequency? I don't know. And
yeah,
then my second question would be like, well, is anyone gonna mention how long the remains have been there?
right, right. So I have this here. Based on the most recent statements from law enforcement and crime experts, there is currently no evidence linking the recent discoveries of human remains across the 3 states to a single perpetrator, right? While the timing and geographic clustering of these cases have understandably fueled speculation, each incident appears to be unrelated. So then there's a breakdown of like why. Right. So the first one is law enforcement consensus. Agencies in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts have all emphasized that despite viral social media rumors, they have found no connections among the individual cases. Investigators have examined potential clandestine graves, conducted in multi-jurisdictional reviews, including involvement from the FBI. So at this point, the FBI has even gotten involved and have still reported no common suspect, method, or motive. Right. So that tells me right there there's no method or motive, right? That I don't really the suspect thing kind of falls along that, but if there's no related method or motive, then you don't have a serial killer, right? You just have a bunch of bodies that were found, a bunch of dead bodies that got found in roughly the same amount of time. Um, because typically serial killers have a motive, right? Like they have an MO, they have some sort of signature thing, right? They have a type, right? Like a type of person. Again, usually, I'm speaking in generalities. There are some that just kind of kill for thrills, I suppose. Um, but the FBI has gotten involved, and they have no common method or motive throughout these. Um, in one of the more higher profile cases, Donald Koffel, who is 68, was actually arrested and charged with the murder, dismemberment, and improper disposal of Susan Wormser, 58, whose torso was found in a suitcase near Colonial Ledyard Cemetery on March 19th, 2025. So Koffel's confession and the physical evidence from their shared residence conclusively resolved that case. So of the one of the 8 bodies that was found was a woman, Suzanne Wormser, who effectively her body was cut into pieces and put in a suitcase, right? They found the guy that did that. They convicted him. He confessed. Now he's in jail, right? So the way I see that is now you're looking at 7 bodies, right? Because they've also confirmed that the other bodies weren't killed or dismembered in the same way as this guy, right? So this guy, Donald Koffel, is not some serial killer that's killed a bunch of people the same way and disposed of them all. He was only guilty of killing Suzanne Wormser. So the eight bodies now become seven, right? Because to me, you take that one off the deck, right? Off the top of the deck. Um, and also in that case, authorities have stated that it bears no relation to the other remains found across the region. So, yeah, I mean, now there's only seven, right? Um, Hamden County DA has urged the public to avoid unverified claims that could jeopardize active investigations, noting that there is no indication of a serial offender. Former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis pointed out that if a serial killer were operating, investigators would publicly seek additional federal and state resources, yet no such coordinated alert has been issued, right? Which is a good point. If local authorities suspect a potential serial killer, first thing they're going to do is call the FBI, right? Because that's quite literally what the FBI does. They have an entire division of the FBI just for tracking down serial killers. Um, so if the FBI is not here, right, and they're not involved and they're not actively investigating any of this, that to me is another indicator that there's no serial killer, right? Because they may be around and just denying it, right? But if everyone is saying, well, the FBI is not here, so like then you know that they're not investigating versus people seeing the FBI around and being like, yeah, no, they're not investigating anything. They're just here to support, right? And it's like, okay, you guys are just lying now, right? Like they're not doing that. They're not lying. The FBI quite literally isn't there. Um, and then the last thing they said is the lack of consistent MO or victimology. So crime analysts highlight that true serial homicides typically share a distinct modus operandi or victim profile. These recent cases vary widely in victim demographics, cause of death, and then they say where determined, and disposal methods, further undermining the notion of a single New England serial killer. So, again, different demographics for the victims, different causes of death, different disposal methods. To me, there's no serial killer.
Yeah, it doesn't. Because again, going back to my first two questions, we haven't even established that, let alone
Right,
we haven't even had to go that far
right, right.
for them to say, nope, not a serial killer.
So I'm gonna see if ChatGPT knows the methods of disposal. Yeah, so
You like that was I was actually more so like, well, how long have they been there?
yeah.
Because
So
I know they turned up in the same 2 month period, but what if like some remains are 20 years old, 30 years old, 60 years old?
so
Because
what
like, I
I
don't even know how
will
long human remains like stay.
for a really fucking long time.
Yeah, so like,
Um,
what if they're over like different decades?
yeah. I mean, so what I will say, right? What I do think that there's a potential serial killer of, I don't know if you remember this. This was a long time ago, because we were still kind of it. We were a little bit older than college age. We were probably like 20 in the 25 to 30 range when this was going on. But there was a suspected serial killer that everyone was hush hush over in Boston because men in Boston between the ages of like 19 and 25 were going missing and their bodies were being found in the Charles River. Like they were just dead. Like there was multiple men between again the ages of like 19 and 25 that their dead bodies were just showing up in the Charles River. Right? Like they would go out one night and the MO, right? Again, the victimology here was always the same. They went out to a bar drinking with their friends. They left the bar by themselves and then their body was found shortly thereafter in the Charles River. Like there was a very consistent MO. And I believe, and maybe the person is still out there, but I believed at the time that there could potentially be a serial killer out there. A lot of people were chalking it up to guys just getting too drunk and falling over the railing and drowning in Charles River. And it's like, yeah, maybe one guy or two guys, but like this was consistently going on for months and months. And it's like that. So that to me screams serial killer, right? And then, I mean,
Or
I don't know
having
what's
this
happened
vibe.
since then. I don't know if it's still happening or not. But that had a lot more smoke to the fire, right, of a serial killer at the time. Like I said, it's been a few years, right? I don't find myself out in Boston much anymore, alone, especially shit faced, like I used to. But yeah, so here's the details on the bodies, right? We already talked about Suzanne Wormser from Groton, Connecticut. Um, she was cut up and put in a suitcase. They got the guy that did that. So Paige Fannin from Norwalk, Connecticut. Her body was found in the Norwalk River following heavy rainfall. Disposal method found in a river. Specific details about her body ended up there have not been disclosed. No further information regarding the circumstances of her death. Okay, so she was found in a river. Number three, Denise Leary in New Haven, Connecticut. Her remains were found near her residence in New Haven. Specific details about the disposal method have not been publicly disclosed, but she was reported missing in September 30th, 2024. So she had been missing for 6 months before her body was found, and it said her remains were found near her home, and they didn't talk about the the disposal method. The woman, there's an unidentified woman from Springfield, Mass. Um, Details have not been released. That's not helpful.
None of this is
Uh,
helpful.
Unidentified remains in Plymouth. A human skull was found in a wooded area off of Route 3 in March of 2025. No further details outside of that. So a lot of this is like a woman's body was found in a wooded area in Foster, Rhode Island in April. Found in a wooded area. Specific details have not been disclosed. So that's what they're saying. The placement in a suitcase, the deposition in rivers, right, and abandonment in wooded areas. Um, they're all different methods. So I think we're in the clear. I think there's just murders, right? There's murders that happen. Um, Unfortunately, that's a reality. So uh on that note, you want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up. So each year there's an auction for the Ouiment fund. So it's a golf auction.
Yep.
And each year I track it, and each year it gets out of my price range. So I never end up actually getting anything. But this year I took the top 10 in finish price and I wrote down how much it was for. I believe every single one of these golf courses is a threesome. So you are playing with a member.
Okay.
So the Country Club, Newport Country Club, Marion, Eastward Ho, Myopia, Winged Foot, Salem, Catanzit. Are you good with all of those?
Yeah,
Are you familiar with Maidstone or Sabonic?
I am not.
Okay, I believe they're both Long Island. Um, they're just like heavy hitters on Long Island. I think Sabonic is one of the newer ones. I think Maidstone might be a more traditional or a little bit older. Not like
Okay.
Shinnecock old or not National Golf Links old, but Maids, I think that's kind of what we're talking.
Okay.
So do you feel pretty good about the level of golf course I just kind of gave you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So uh, first question's easy. Which of those courses do you think finished top of the line?
Um, I like most expensive.
Yeah, like which bidding went the most
I
expensive?
mean, probably Winged Foot.
Ah, you'd be wrong. It was the country club.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess the Ouiment Fund is also, I mean, Francis Ouiment was Boston, so it's like it is a very regional because
Yeah.
obviously of those courses that I just told you, three are in New York and the rest are in three are in New York, one's in Pennsylvania, the rest are in Massachusetts.
Right.
So that being said, it is the country club, and I'm just gonna go out on a limb and assume that these are either people I'm sorry, I think these are company donations because anyone that's got this type of cash is probably a member at something
Yeah.
and could probably work their way onto or know whatever.
Right. Right.
A threesome at the country club. What do you think that's going to run you?
12 grand.
Not 12, 8,700. 8,700.
Yeah.
Now, I saw a different auction that included Friar's Head, which is another Long Island golf course, and that bidding was over 13 grand. And I
Wow.
believe it was also threesome, which
Yeah.
at this rate, threesome, foursome, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you want to get out in the country club? 9 grand buys it next year. That's why I think too, it's probably corporate, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to throw around for a round of golf. So I think it's got to be corporate. And I think, because again, it's like if you're someone who can spend 9 grand to play the country club, that's like probably close to yearly dues for the country club.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's probably a little bit more, maybe like 12 or
Yeah.
so. Or that's my uninformed
Yeah, like
guess.
you said, right? Like if you can pay, if you can afford to pay that much to play at the country club, maybe you're already a member at Eastward Ho, right? And you can afford, you can, like you said, you can finagle your way and be like, oh, is there a member of the country club that wants to come play at Eastward Ho? All right, well, you come play with me, I come play with you, yeah, that
Yeah.
type of thing,
I
right?
also
Like,
wouldn't be surprised. The people putting these up may also say, hey, whatever, so and so, financial, whatever. Like, hey, this is my auction. If you win it, like send out your, senior C-suite people and whatever. Like, I'm sure there's deals like that, whatever. So, we're not going to spend too much time on this because it doesn't really matter. But we're going to do a higher or lower. Kittansett or Eastward Ho? Which one came
Eastward
out higher?
Eastward Ho,
You are correct, sir. Uh, Maidstone or Newport Country Club?
Maidstone.
So it was Newport. Newport came out second.
Wow.
7,200 to get in. Oh, also of this list, it's 5 grand is the least amount to get to any
Okay.
of these places. I think Wingfoot threw you a bone though, and you get like $1,000 worth of apparel or something. Um, of the pecking order, just give me a number 1 through 10. Where do you think Marion comes in?
Um, Probably like seven.
Number 3.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know when their next U.S. Open is. I don't know if that has
I
anything to do
would have
with it.
thought just geographically that like people would have stuck more to Massachusetts, New York.
Yeah, you would think, but this is where things like kind of get interesting because I've seen a few places or I've seen a few of these auctions where it's like everything's in the Carolinas and then they throw in like an Eastward Ho. An Eastward Ho here was 6 grand, but Eastward Ho there is like 3 grand.
Yeah,
So it's still not paying that, but like it does like some of that does matter. Like the stuff that's actually around here
right.
ends up going higher. but I think Marion's just close enough. And because it hosts US Opens, and I don't know when, maybe 2030.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say 30, but
maybe it's 2030. It doesn't really matter. But um, Marion's one of those that kind of shows up. And then rate these three in order: Salem, Catanset, Sabonic.
um in price,
Yep,
like
for the ending bids.
Catanset, Salem, Sabonic.
Well, it was a trick question because all three of them finished at 49.44. But I think my dreams of like kind of getting out to Salem might I think Salem's getting a little bit more credit than I give it for because I played there in high school. I played 9 holes in a match.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that was cool. Like I'd love to get back out there. And I'm like, might be approaching a realm I'm not used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like if you want to get out on these places, it just takes five to $9,000 and you can do it.
Yeah, that's it. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also don't know if that includes like because it's an auction, there's fees somewhere. I don't know if that includes fees or if that's before fees. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Um, so yep, yet another year of me tracking that auction, yet another year of me not purchasing anything.
Maybe
Well, I'm like,
someday.
that's the thing though. I struggle for pure greens fees. I just struggle when any place gets over it is more than $600.
Yeah.
I don't know really what to do with it at that
Right.
point.
Right.
And it's like not many auctions were $1,800 or less.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Um, my final thought is a quick one. But it's when I was in California, I finally had In and Out for the first time. So I just stopped and grabbed lunch there. It was pretty good. Um, it's better than all of the regular like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, right? It is not better than Five Guys. Um, it's good, right? It's good. I will give them that. Like, all the people that go nuts over In and Out, um, it's good, right? I got the secret menu thing to order, so I got a double double with grilled onions and chilies, right? So they chop up. It's effective. It's pepperoncinis. They call them chilies because they're dumb. But they chop up pepperoncinis and onions, grill them, and throw those on the burger. Very good, right? It's a good burger, but again, it's just good, right? Again, it's not better than Five Guys. It's also probably not better than Smash Burger. Smash Burger's sneaky pretty good. Um, yeah, I've never had Whataburger, but I know that's the big thing, right? In and Out versus Whataburger. Um, yeah, again, I would put it comfortably at number three behind Five Guys, Smash Burger, and then In and Out. So the fries are very salty, which I was like kind of weirded out by, like very salty. Um, but yeah, other than that, solid spot. I would probably go again if I needed to. Um, the best thing is it's cheap as fuck, especially for being in California. Again, I got the double double with bacon, onions, chilies, and a fry. It was $9. So, I mean, I haven't been to a fast food restaurant in fucking years, probably since we lived in Mansfield. And I was hungover coming back from Market Basket when I would stop at Wendy's occasionally. But like, I don't remember how much that cost, but $9 feels pretty cheap for what I got, especially again being in California and having like a million taxes. So, shout out to In-N-Out. So, have you ever had it? Did you have it when you were out there? No.
Nope.
Again, you're not really missing out. Anyone
Dude,
that's
I went to,
like,
so we ended up stopping at a Wendy's driving from Atlanta to Augusta. And like, I didn't even know how to fucking order. Like, that's how long it's been
yeah,
since I've gone to like a fast food place.
yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's gonna do it for us. So thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy as well. You can rate and review on Spotify and iTunes. Christ, it's been 2 weeks. I don't remember what I'm supposed to say. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Check out the show notes. Support the sponsor, support us. And until next time, good night, everybody.